Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. I got my friend Beth with us from UMass Career Center. Beth, welcome to the show, my friend.
Good to be here, Kevin.
So, Beth, I'm really excited for the career fair. Big day for our students. One of the things I see students struggle with, Beth, is the follow up. Yeah,
Hmm.
I went there. I scanned the codes. I gave them my resume. If they want me, they'll call me, right? Maybe. Isn't it important to show that you want to work there by taking the time to follow up? How do you
Yes.
do it,
Yes.
Beth? That's the question. How do I follow up? What's the best way?
Really great question. And I will just put into a little more context about
Oh,
being in the recruiter's shoes. Not
yeah.
only have they met with a ton of students at UMass Lowell, but they are in career fair season. They're
Yep.
traveling to a bunch of other schools. So they've met with hundreds, maybe thousands of
Yeah.
students, right?
Yep.
A lot of people they would have to individually follow up with. So your point about needing to follow up is really helpful. And when someone's trying to decide if they're going to hire you, part of what's really important is that you have an interest in working there, and following up demonstrates interest in working there. So, in addition to demonstrating your interest, this is also your opportunity to kind of reintroduce yourself and to now stand out from the crowd because now you're part of a small bucket of students who has actively reached out. You're on a much shorter list than the list of people who visited them at the fair.
Yep.
So, critical things that need to happen at the fair in order for you to effectively reach out is to collect contact information.
Yes.
So, very important to ask at the end of your conversation, ask for a business card. Ask if you can connect on LinkedIn. If they don't have a business card available, when you step away from that table, they're going to wear name tags. You're introducing yourselves. When you step away from that table, find them on LinkedIn. Real
Smart.
quick, find them on LinkedIn. And when you go to connect with them on LinkedIn, don't just click connect and let
Yes.
that go through blindly. Because what's going to happen is that recruiter is going to get this generic message that says, "Hi, I'd like to connect on LinkedIn." Again, they've met hundreds, maybe
Yep.
thousands of students.
Right.
They might not remember your face and name without context. So rather go to their profile, and then when you click connect, you'll get a pop-up option that says, "Would you like to add a note?" Add a note.
Please, please add a note.
Add a note where you say, "Thanks for taking the time to meet with me at the UMass Lowell Career Fair. I really enjoyed our conversation about X and would love to stay connected." You don't have a lot of space to work
Yep.
within the
Yep.
that LinkedIn note, but you have enough space for those 2 to 3 lines.
But you want to tell them something about what you spoke about, so it will trigger
Mhm.
them, right?
Yeah, so if you get a business card and you have their email address, or once they accept your request to connect on LinkedIn, you're sending them a LinkedIn message. Either way,
Yep.
thank them for taking the time to meet with you at the UMass Lowell Career Fair. Refer to something specific you all talked about in your conversation. I really appreciated learning more about your experience growing through the organization as an intern and the career path that's evolved for you, right? Or I really enjoyed talking about our shared experience in Professor Kev's classes from back when you were a student here.
Yep.
Uh, when you reference something specific you spoke about in the conversation, one, it's going to help them remember who you were.
Yep.
But two, it shows you were paying attention.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that
Yes.
matters. It shows that you valued the conversation and you care. Um, when it comes to referencing that specific thing from your conversation, highly recommend as soon as you're done a conversation at a booth, step away, jot down a note about what you spoke about
I like that.
so that you're not having to think back to the 15 tables you visited.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what did
Yep.
I talk about with this
Sure.
company versus that company?
Yep. That's
So
solid advice.
take 30 seconds to write down the name of the person that you met, to write down a highlight about what you talked about.
I like it.
So you want to reference those things. If you didn't get to say everything you wanted to at the fair, this is your chance to fill in some blanks.
Yep.
You know, we talked about this internship opportunity, and based on my background in XYZ or the skills I've learned through these classes, I feel confident I'd be a strong fit for it. And I've gone ahead and applied online as you suggested. Many of these employers are going to say apply to the opportunity on Handshake.
I like it.
That's not a brush off.
Yep.
It's not.
If
You
I
need
can see
to
why you would
apply.
feel it that way, but
Yep.
to me, I see it the opposite. They liked enough about what you said to encourage you to take the next step. I see
Yes.
it that way instead.
And they
That's how
can't,
I would take it.
right. They can't formally consider you until your application is there. Like they have the stack of resumes, that's great. They're going to sort those stacks into conversations that were really great and maybe some people who aren't a fit yet. However, they might have 8 job postings, and that stack of resumes does not tell them which one you're interested in necessarily.
Yep.
So you do still need to formally apply. When you tell them, I've applied on Handshake as you suggested, now they see the note, they can go right to your application
Yep.
and consider you. Um, in these outreaches, this is your opportunity to take a one-time connection and turn it into now a professional relationship. Even if they don't have an opportunity for you right now. Maybe that's what you learned at the fair is that you need another year of schooling,
Yep.
or they don't have internships right now and that's what you're looking for. It is still so valuable for you to maintain and build a relationship with these folks
Yep.
because they'll have an opportunity sometime.
Yeah, I mean, it could literally change tomorrow, Beth. I mean, someone
Right.
decides to leave. Hey, we do have that opportunity you were looking for.
And by being known before an opportunity becomes available is the best time to be known
Yep. How do we
because
keep
then they
that
have you in mind.
relationship going, Beth? For me, I like to, like and comment on your posts.
Mm-hmm.
I keep a spreadsheet. These are the people I want to stay in contact. Hey, I haven't thought about Beth in a bit. I'll go look up your profile. Oh, look, thank Beth. She had a great post the other day. Share it. Hey, Beth, I shared your post today. I just wanted to remind you. Just want to say hi.
Yeah, and LinkedIn does an excellent job of giving you notifications when people have changes in their work, when people post
Oh,
articles. So LinkedIn is really trying to help you to organically stay connected through likes and comments. However, I'm also a really big fan of having maybe a 1 month, a 3 month, and a 6 month touch point,
cool.
or touching base around naturally scheduled times in the year, like Thanksgiving is a really natural time to reach out and say, hey, we met at this event and you shared this kind of information with me and I really appreciated it and just wanted to reach out and take time to say thank you. Or at the end of a semester, I hope that your spring went really well. When we met at the fair, we talked about this kind of project I was working on and I wanted to update you on it.
That's smart. Smart approach. All right, let me show you how old I am, Beth. Do people still send cards?
Oh my gosh, yes. If you send something physically in the mail, that makes you stand out beautifully because
No, I liked getting cards. When I went
yes.
to bank, I get a card from anyone. I put it on my desk. Everyone that walked in my office would pick it up. Who sent you a card? Because it's so rare. All
Yes.
those people are seeing how you stood out. I just didn't know if that was kind of like got me showing your age a little bit there, buddy.
No, it still continues to be a really super, super nice touch. I've got thank you cards pinned up on my corkboard from students that I've worked with in the past. So, absolutely, if you're really interested in an organization, still send your electronic thank you because that's going to be more timely.
Sure. Yep.
However, you have the person's name that you met with.
Yep.
You can find the address for the organization pretty easily online.
Yep.
So you can send a thank you card, attention that person in the mail, and they'll receive it. And that will show just that little
Yep.
extra level of care and attention.
Beth, I liked what you said. It's very important this be timely. Like for me, I'd prefer you do it that night after the craft fair. Next day. If you wait a week, it loses. Hey, thanks for coming to the UMass little craft fair 3 weeks ago. It
Right.
loses its effectiveness. I had a friend that would literally write cards in his car after the event.
Mhm.
Use your card, write it out, and put it in the mailbox. You'd get it like the next day or the day after, and it just blew people away just how
Yeah.
timely it was. So timeliness, I think it's important. It stands out as long as you're doing it timely. I think that's important. Not
Yep.
so. All right. Anything else? How else can we stand out? I like your advice of the touch. Having a schedule, especially
Mhm.
around the holidays. Just want to reach out. Hope you have
Yeah.
a fun holiday season. Just wanted to say hi. It's a softer touch than. Do you have any jobs for me yet?
Yes.
We get a lot of those. Like, hey, anything
Yep.
changed? Can you hire me yet? If you're making it around, hey, Beth, I happen to notice it's your anniversary at your company. Wow, congratulations on 5 years, my friend. If you make it that way, it just doesn't feel as, do you have a job for me yet?
Right, because when it's just you, do you have a job for me yet? That's not a relationship. Or it's not
It,
mm,
it isn't, though. That's just
it,
facts.
yeah. You're using them for a very specific
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah.
And if you're wanting to build relationship, in which case they're going to keep you in mind
Hmm.
for things, what is very helpful is that it is a two-way street
Add value.
relationship. So in addition to you can use the calendar naturally for times to connect. I'd highly encourage you remember that this career fair is a very quick touch point. You're not going to be chatting for 30 minutes with these folks.
Nope.
So in your follow up, it is very, very appropriate to say, I would love to learn more about your experience. Do you have 20 minutes for coffee,
Hmm.
for a Zoom call?
I love
Where I
that,
could
Beth.
just learn more about your experience at the organization and truly have that conversation to get to know them and their career journey. Because the important thing to remember about any sort of relationship is that demonstrated interest in each other's backgrounds is
Yep.
really helpful.
Yep.
So they're getting to know a lot about your background at the fair, but also as you get to know about theirs, again, you're demonstrating interest in them, but you're also demonstrating interest in the organization. It allows you the opportunity to ask more pointed questions based on their journey
Yep.
and get some insight for yourself about how to maybe strategize your own next steps.
Beth, I love that call to action. Like you said, what is the next step? And sometimes people just like to talk about themselves.
They do, they do.
Yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of that, and ask, hey, what is your journey? Tell me about your experience working there, so that we can, especially you mentioned informational interviews.
Mhm.
Big fan of that. I may have my own version of this company. I want to talk to people who work there. What's a day in the life like? Is it as amazing as I think it is? To try to see, okay, this is what really happens, not what we show you on LinkedIn, for instance. So I think that's important. Beth, if people have questions on what's the best way to follow up, what's the best way to get some advice from you?
Yeah, really great question. So, for following up on the fair, for building a network, I would highly encourage booking a 45-minute scheduled appointment with one of our career advisors. And if you go to career.uml.edu and choose the big blue button that says meet with an advisor, one of the options you'll see is to schedule a 45-minute career advising appointment.
Awesome.
Our career advisors are designated by college. So you'll get to meet with somebody who's designated to your college, who's able to offer networking advice or other job and internship search advice based on the program you're in.
Awesome. Beth, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks, Kevin.